Hello, welcome back. I'm Darren, and today, as per the title, we are back at 4K. So, I've been testing the Alienware Ultra Wide now for, I don't know, I assume about a week, maybe a bit longer than that. I can't even remember. I say testing. It's basically a case of it lives on my sim rig, and I pretty much play ACC on my sim rig and nothing else, and it's not really somewhere that I want to sit and try anything else. So I did obviously remove it from the sim rig. I bolted it onto the desktop. I wanted to try out in different games, see how I felt about it, because basically, yeah, I think it's very easy to kind of go through your kind of PC gaming, your build. Everything's about GPU. You've got CPU, all of those things that you're taking into consideration. And I don't know, definitely for me, screen almost took a back seat for a long time, like monitor them basically. Now, obviously, if you're a PC gamer on TV, it's going to be obviously be quite simple for you. But for probably people like me that kind of moved to PC, probably moved to a desk, mouse and keyboard playing, or you might still be on controller sat at a desk, but obviously this is where I'm sat. You can see it, here I am. And I didn't put as much effort into screen as I did the rest of my components. So for a long time I was on a 1440p, just a 165 hertz monitor. I've always played with high settings, and I'm not a high FPS really type of person. So that to me has kind of been fine. And then recently, well, I say recently, probably about a couple of months ago, there was a sale on like a Prime event or whatever it was on Amazon, and I saw that there was a really good deal on a 4K monitor. It was the same size, so it's a 27-inch 4K monitor, LG, and I decided, you know what, I'll go for that. It's half price or whatever it was. It was a good deal, so I decided to pick up the 4K monitor, and at that point I was kind of blown away with how good obviously 4K looked, especially at 27 inches, and that's kind of where I'm going to go in this video, because I then obviously decided, I mean, this is only an LCD, and that's where it's obviously let down. So, but to be fair, it wasn't that much of a problem, and now it is, and that's really annoyed me, because I was completely happy with this monitor, no issue, happy gaming, life was good. And then I tried the ultra wide. Now, the ultra wide obviously instantly felt like an instant, backward step, as I'd gone from 1440p to 4K and back to 1440p. But putting this on this 4K monitor straight back again, it looks tiny. If I could easily walk into this room now, look at this screen and think it's a 24-inch. It looks that small compared to obviously what the ultra wide was. So now I'm kind of, that's kind of a little bit annoying. I'll get used to it. So it's not a huge issue. But obviously the things I did like about the ultra wide, I did like the aspect ratio, but I can live without it. But obviously I did like the fact that it was OLED, so the HDR in it was incredible. I'm not going to get that with this monitor. I'm not even going to bother turning HDR on, because I just know I'm not going to get those deep blacks. I'm not going to get those, those super popping colours that you're going to get with an OLED. So I'm not even going to put myself through that. This will just stay on SDR. But yeah, it's instantly, I'm kind of, I've done something bad to myself now, which is really annoying, because now I know that ideally I do want a 32-inch 4K OLED, and there's kind of no way around that, and it's annoying. I'm kind of stuck now, because I'm kind of torn in between now. I don't want to use either one. I want the perfect, and that's really annoying. I've probably got a bit of an opportunity while the missus is away. I don't know. I've got a week till she's back. She won't know. If she walks in, she will not know that I have a new monitor. I could probably hide the box up in the loft, so I don't know. I shouldn't, but I might. I'll have to wait and see. I'll have to wait and see what's available. I did have a little bit of a look yesterday. I think there's one of the new MSI ones which is available on a deal at the moment. It's under £1,000. By the time I have tax removed and it's shipped, it might be around £850. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. But I'm back in the 4K. I did notice some problems yesterday. I was going to record 2 games, and last night I was going to put some footage up for a couple of games, and I noticed that they were running really bad. And one of them, I didn't try it. Like, the first one I tried was Witcher 3, and that just had a constant stutter. So you could see it in the frame time graph, and it did not go. It was literally stutter, 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 stutter. And it felt frame pacing, and I didn't like it. The other thing that I did feel is, that is, to me, the worst experience I've had on the ultra wide. I don't know why. I expected completely different, but I felt like I don't like playing with a high FOV. I don't like that kind of fisheye look that it gives. And I felt like in ultra wide, that was what was happening with that game. It didn't feel. It felt like I was cranking my FOV up, which I wasn't. Now, I didn't actually try to see if I could lower the FOV from standard. Maybe that would have fixed it. But at the same time, it felt like it was just frame pacing. So I'm not sure what that was. What I should have tried is to use VSR and set it to 4K and see if that fixed it. What I'm going to do once I finish this recording is load it up now in 4K and see if that's got rid of the stutter, or if it's maybe one of the games that we might find out has got a problem on the new driver. I'll have to wait and see. So that was one problem. The second problem was Hell Let Loose. I did do some recordings of it, but the gameplay was so bad, and I was so angry with it. The recordings were just a mess because I was just having a really bad time in it, of instantly getting hit by artillery or whatever was going on in the game. But at 1440p, that game wasn't running. It was a huge CPU bottleneck. So I was running at the highest settings that I could at 3440 by 1440p. So obviously at the native resolution. And it was running about, I think my GPU was running between 50 and 60% utilization. It was kind of stuttering quite bad. And I knew straight away that the XTX was pulling like 180 watts. So it was like, right, this just isn't working. I had to leave the game, had to set it to VSR, set it to 5160 by 2160, jump back in the game, and I had about 20 FPS extra, which is interesting, and a smooth frame time, and the GPU was pinned at 100%. I mean, it did drop down. I was recording as well, so it did drop down a little bit, but it was never below 90%. So that game there just wanted to be at 4K just to run smooth, and I got extra performance. So, which is always interesting. It's not the first time I've seen it. I've seen it before. I can't remember the last game. I've had another game where I've jumped up to 4K. I was running quite a bad bottleneck, and I ended up getting more performance at 4K than what I was at 1440p. So it can happen. I have had it happen before. I just can't remember what game it was in now. So, yeah, basically for the next day or two, I'm going to start putting up some 4K footage. So, if anyone has anything in particular they want to see, let me know. But I'm probably going to start going through a couple of the games that I've probably previously done, and just checking to see how I feel they can maybe get dropped in settings here and there because they are at 4K, and where I can kind of claw back performance towards 1440p. I noticed Daniel Owen obviously did a video recently. He's clearly, watching my content and reacting. I'm joking. But he did a video, I think it was yesterday or the day before, about 4K. And he did mention in that video that he was basically setting, I think he was setting like DLSS performance to get around about the same performance as 1440p. So 4K DLSS performance was about the same as 4K native. Now I wouldn't go to that level, but at the same time, because you're going to 4K Ultra, you can, if you're judging by 1440p Ultra at native, you can probably drop 4K, you can definitely drop 4K back to high and still look a lot better. And sometimes there's a lot of improvement between high and ultra. So I think I could probably play with some settings, and even if I ended up at, DLSS or DLSS balanced, I could try FSR balanced. I'm just interested at playing around with a few settings and seeing how close to kind of 1440p native I can get. I still believe for something like the XTX, you've got 24 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not playing at 1440p with this GPU. I also believe that if you're going to use FSR, 4K is the best place to be turning it on rather than 1440p. I don't think you've got a lot of choice at 1440p. The best that you'll be able to use is FSR quality at 1440p, and in some games, depending on what FSR is used in that game, it's just sometimes it's just not going to be great. Sometimes it will be fine. So, but it's generally going to be fine at 4K FSR quality in most games. I'm not going to say, I'm not comparing it to DLSS, but I'm just saying I will be confident that FSR quality at 4K is going to be good enough. So yeah, basically that's about it. I need to do some, I was just watching some stuff on my camera. I need to figure out setting that up, but I think the only way that I can really do some of the stuff that I was just looking at is to sort out some lights in front of me. So that's something I'll be looking at, and then I was just looking at some stuff for the mic as well, because I might end up changing the mic. I've noticed in this scenario, I've not noticed too much of a problem. I don't know how to set it up entirely properly, but I notice in my gameplay videos how badly my mouse and keyboard sound. And the funny thing is, they're both quite silent. I actually have like silent keys on the keyboard, but you'd think that they were like clicky blues, the amount of noise they make. So I kind of had a quick look into what I could do about that. I thought I'd have to go with an XLR, but the mic that I'm using at the moment actually has some really good software, and within the software is a noise suppression software that is supposed to be brilliant. So I just went to download it, and it's for NVIDIA only, which is another kick in the teeth. So AMD need to sort that out. I don't know why. It's just exactly the same with the camera. With the camera software, you can download filters and like green screen stuff and all that sort of stuff for different backgrounds and stuff, only available on NVIDIA. So yeah, it's a little bit of a gripe that I wish AMD would sort some of that stuff out. It is a little bit annoying because it's almost like if I want to use any of those features, I feel like I'm always having to swap over to the other system to use them. It's a little gripe, and it just seems yeah, it seems annoying, but talking about it seems petty. So it's not a huge deal, but it just seems to be there's always something like that, if you know what I mean. So that's not anything that I can unfortunately sort out or really look into whilst I'm on this system, but I will. I'll probably move over to the 4080 at some point over the weekend maybe, and so I might try and check out some of those features, see how they help with recording. And talking of recording, I'm going to try and have a look a bit at DaVinci tonight. Someone did mention to me that on the free version of that it works very well with rendering on AMD. So I might have a look at that and see if I can at least be able to do something a bit better with my uploads other than just like what I'm loading at the moment, which is just raw straight to YouTube, which is about the only thing that I have time for. So that's pretty much where I'm at. Like I said, I'm back to 4K. I feel uneasy about it already just because of the size of it. It will take me a while to get used to. But I think probably the first thing I'm going to get in, because I haven't played it for a few days, is I'll probably get into the first Descendant tonight and probably run a 4K upload in that, see what it looks like, see how I feel about that at 4K. It's quite a demanding game, but I'm sure I can figure out a way to make it work. And yeah, that's it. So I'm going to leave it there, and I will catch you in the next one.